It's unprecedented. It's unbelievable. And if it was so easy, why didn't
It's unprecedented. Why is Obama the only president not to achieve 3%?
He wouldn't expect it with the Marxists that are teaching every single day.
Like Hayek?
Welcome back to Rattlesnake TV, guys. In this video, we are going to be watching a hilarious exchange between Charlie Kirk and some overly cocky students from the London School of Economics.
What's your name?
My name is Libard.
So let's get into the first part where they talk about economics as well as America versus other Western countries and comparing American presidents before Marxist McLovin himself comes in with the big microphone steal.
It's 10:33. Here. What?
Hi there. So we're a couple of students from the London School of Economics, and I just wanted to ask, so you mentioned... Oh, it's actually one of the most right-wing universities here in the UK. Right? You mentioned that Trump managed to achieve a GDP growth rate of 3%, which I'll admit is quite impressive, but technically that's just 2.6%, and it was higher in 2015 under Obama with 2.9%. Now, and to be entirely precise, that's not even remotely as high as, for example, Cyprus with 3.9, Ireland with 7.8, or Romania, who just finished like a whole season of a social democrat government with 6.9% GDP growth. So I mean, didn't Trump really just bring America to somewhere around the middle of the Western nations?
So first of all, I don't know, the mics are screwed up. First of all, it's a 3% GDP rate for this last year. It was 3.6% in the third quarter. So look, India's GDP rate is 14% every year because they're a developing country. When you have a $22 trillion GDP and you're still growing at 3%, again, I'm saying India, I'm using an example, okay? India's GDP rate year over year is 14%, 15%. When you have a $22 trillion economy and you're still growing at 3%, it's an unbelievable achievement, And so I'm not really sure where your disagreement is, but when you have the world's largest economy, you have 330 million people, and you're still growing at a 3% clip, it's incredible. Here's a fact. Obama's the first president in U.S. history to never achieve 3% GDP growth in a single year. Fact. Trump did it in his first year. So I'm not sure the numbers they're learning at the London School of Economics, but I'm happy to talk about them.
So you have other really big economies, for example, Ireland, that also have a much smaller population, but actually do have a higher... Wait. Before you interrupt.
The GDP of Ireland's like 180 billion.
Yes. But they also have a much smaller population, so their GDP per capita is actually higher than that of the United States, and they're still growing at 7.8%. I mean, how are you explaining something like that?
Because Ireland has the lowest corporate tax rate in the world. In a lot of ways, they've had market-based policies that we'll embrace and we appreciate. Okay. And the fact that Donald Trump actually lowered the U.S. corporate tax rate was to stop U.S. companies from domiciling in Ireland, the very country that you're using an example to try to juxtapose against the policies that we embrace.
Take Romania, social democrat government, the last 4 years, 6.9% GDP growth.
Look again, I'm happy to plead ignorance on an Eastern European country as Romania, but I'm guessing that their GDP per capita is a little bit less than that of the United States. There's, in some parts of their country, again, we do have some Romanians that can speak stronger about it, but I will say their immigration policy is actually something I like a lot. So I don't know if you're going to want to defend it. I don't know what your policies on immigration. I don't want to assume that, but they are more closed borders than most European countries.
Am I allowed to go into immigration, or is the mic going to...
I'm just saying, I'm not sure the point you're trying to make, but when the U.S. economy is $22 trillion and still growing at a 3% clip, it's unprecedented. It's unbelievable. And if it was so easy, why didn't Obama...
It's unprecedented. Why is Obama the only president not to achieve 3%?
He didn't.
If it's unprecedented, why did 44 presidents before Trump achieve it?
Wait, hold on. Let me ask you a question. What's your name?
I am McLovin.
What?
Because you seem really excited, Sparky.
My name
What's your
is
name?
Libard.
Marxist McLovin is going to regret this moment. This self-righteous little socialist has entered the conversation like a bull at the gates, armed and dangerous, with a few semesters of economics under his belt. No. You see, Charlie Kirk, not the one you want to play with when it comes to economics. My man is like an encyclopedia of knowledge with this stuff. I actually think that he may have come out of his mother's womb clutching The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith in one hand and the American Constitution in the other hand. And I think that when Charlie Kirk heard these young gentlemen say that they're from the London School of Economics, he actually would have become slightly aroused because he knew that he was about to eat. And there's no meal quite as tasty as a few economics majors regurgitating the points of their Marxist professors. So now let's get to the part where Charlie Kirk does a very epic takedown. If there's one thing you can't fault Charlie about, it's that he's very well read and researched, and it gives him this ability to be able to rapid fire on people with facts and stats and logic. And for an inexperienced debater like the Marxist McLovin, it puts him in a corner and bamboozles him and puts him on the defensive mode. But before we get there, guys, make sure to chuck a like on the video. And you, hey, I see you over there. Come here. Thought you could get away from me. Subscribe to the channel. Back to the video.
What's your name?
My name is Libtard.
My name is Jeff.
Libtard. That's good. That'll trend well on Reddit. So I'm going to own you right now. So can you ask me how many years Obama achieved 3% economic growth since you're such a master at the London School of Economics? It rhymes with euro. Zero.
Shit, dude. No, the question was if it's unprecedented, why is Obama the only president not to achieve it?
It's unprecedented in the modern era. In the last 8 years. You know what's unprecedented?
The modern era.
In the last 8 years. You know what's unprecedented? The lowest ever black unemployment rate, the lowest ever Asian unemployment rate, the lowest ever Hispanic unemployment, the lowest ever disabled unemployment
All
rate.
trends
Paired with 3%
under
GDP
Obama.
growth, paired with 6 million jobs since its inauguration, 500,000 in manufacturing sector, exporting more oil than we're importing, finally being energy independent, revitalizing the coal industry, the natural gas capital of the world. That's a little unprecedented. Paired with 3% GDP growth. Oh, by the way, the highest ever stock market high, 99 stock market highs, more GDP growth than ever before. Where Obama, we were in misery and mediocrity. Under Trump, we're in a peace and prosperity. You should learn at the London School of Economics. Wouldn't expect it with the Marxists that are teaching every single day.
like fucking Hayek quoted just now.
Don't you love how leftists start swearing and getting angry? Did you say effing Hayek? Is that what you said?
Oh, sorry. Is that not the?
No, his name was Friedrich Hayek, not effing Hayek.
Wrecked. Is that not the civility that you guys that you guys like? Is that what was that too uncivil for you?
But you just started swearing. Yeah. So can you try to disprove me, or are you going to keep on embarrassing yourself?
The point is that the economic crash happened under George W. Bush.
So you want to talk about the economic crisis? Fine. It was caused by the Federal Reserve lowering interest rates after 9/11. It was caused by something called the Community Reinvestment Act of 1988, which was government policy that incentivized government bureaus to give mortgages to people that should never have been involved. I'm sure you know all about credit default swaps because you're at the London East School of Economics.
I also know that act of legislation was passed under Ronald Reagan.
Let me finish. I let you finish, Sparky. Okay? Alan Greenspan said Fannie and Freddie were the sole contributor. You know what Fannie and Freddie Mac is? Fannie and Freddie Mac are quasi-government institutions that were pushing government-backed mortgages and loans, and they were wrapping them in AAA credit ratings. By the way, your credit agencies were in bed with our credit agencies to create one of the biggest government-created artificial bubbles in American history behind garbage. Wall Street got drunk. Washington, D.C. provided the liquor. George W. Bush was anything but a capitalist. We expanded Medicare Part D. He borrowed trillions of dollars. Every single government program grew underneath him. If you're going to try to say George W. Bush was a great capitalist, disagree with you completely. Here's the final point. As government grows, liberty contracts. The 2008 financial crisis was caused by the very government that we detest and that your school seemingly defends.
You know, I could go on and say that all the legislation that you just talked about was proposed under Reagan, but, you know, that doesn't matter, I guess, because facts and logic over anything.
It doesn't matter because if it's a bad idea, I don't care who proposes it because we stand on principle, not on party. Thank you very much for coming tonight, and stop reading Keynes.
So very, very telling there, guys. Charlie Kirk showing that there is levels to this game. And it may seem inconsequential, like he's just taking down some students or whatever. But you have to think about it like this. These are the individuals who are going to go out into the real world and become the annoying bureaucrats who think they're better than everyone and who think they're smarter than everyone. These are the people that are going to work for the UN and the European Union. So it's good to have these moments where you can maybe make them think a little bit different, embarrass them a little bit on the internet. Nothing wrong with a little bit of tough love from Charlie. Marxist McLovin here clearly needed a little bit of an intellectual beatdown. So guys, as usual, you can find me below. Hit those links. Find me on all socials. Reach out. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, right here. And if you'd like to watch another video, click right here. Till next time, I'm Jake. This is RattlesnakeTV, keeping you armed and dangerous.